Welcome to Does It Matter by Brainy Ballers, where we dissect the game with cutting-edge analytics to give you the upper hand. We analyze everything from hand sizes to average depth of targets to uncover hidden trends that no one else sees. Say goodbye to guesswork and hello to data-driven domination. Because here at Brainy Ballers, we don't just watch the game, we understand it. So get ready, it's podcast time.
Okay, let's unpack this. We're doing a deep dive today, really getting into the weeds on some specific stats. We're focusing on the NFL Combine's tight end vertical jump.
Pretty specific, right?
Very specific. And we've got a good chunk of data to work with.
Yeah, huge data set. We pulled the top 50 fantasy tight ends PPR scoring for every single season going back to 2003. And we basically put that one number, the vertical jump, under a microscope.
Exactly. And the mission here was, well, pretty direct. There's this common idea, you hear it all the time, that the tight end vertical jump signals explosion. We wanted to see if that single measurement actually predicts consistent fantasy success over, like, 2 decades of play.
Right. Does it really tell us who's going to be good year after year? And honestly, the first look at the data kind of flips that whole script. You just look at the average vertical jump for different groups. Say, you compare the guys who are always in the top 5 versus those down in the 31st to 50th range, the lower tier.
The numbers, they barely move. There's no clean, like, straight line upwards, suggesting higher jump equals higher rank.
Precisely. And that tells us straight away we need to stop thinking about some gentle slope where, every extra inch gives you a little bit more production. It's not like that. The data pushes us towards looking for a threshold, a critical point. Standard stats confirm this too. We ran the numbers, and the Pearson value came out at 0.056. And just for some context, right, something everyone agrees matters a lot, like a running back's draft capital.
Yeah, how high they were picked in the draft.
Right. That had a Pearson value of negative 0.234. It confirms there's absolutely no linear predictive power. A higher jump doesn't directly mean better overall fantasy points in a straight line way.
Okay, so no straight line. We need a boundary. But how did the analysis even start suggesting that initial number?
Do you want to start dominating your drafts? At BrainyBallers.com, we've researched every metric under the sun for you to find which ones are best linked to fantasy points. You can access hundreds of metrics to sharpen your scouting abilities so you know which metrics matter and which are just noise. Stop guessing on which thresholds to look for within each metric. Big numbers can be misleading or irrelevant. Our Ultimate Athlete Blueprints reveal essential scouting metrics, their importance, and benchmarks within each metric that help predict a player's probability of being a success or bust. Elevate your scouting ability with Brainy Ballers Ultimate Athlete Blueprints today. Click the link in the description. Now back to the show.
I think it was 30.25 inches. What's the differences chart actually showing?
Well, that chart basically helps visualize where the, let's say, population density of the consistently good tight ends statistically pulls away from the less successful ones. It highlights that separation point. It reinforces that the value isn't really incremental, it's more foundational.
Foundational, like a basic requirement.
Kind of, yeah. Think about maybe dunking a basketball. Being able to jump 2 inches higher than the next guy doesn't automatically make you 80% better overall. But if you can't jump high enough to even get over the rim that's your minimum athletic floor well, then you're probably not playing at an elite level in that specific skill area.
Got it. So it's about clearing a minimum bar. And through optimizing around that initial idea, the source material eventually landed on the verified optimal threshold.
Right.
Which is 30.5 inches and above. That's the number.
That's the key figure that emerged.
Right. So the big takeaway here is the tight end vertical jump. It's definitely not a strong linear predictor of fantasy points. Forget that.
Yeah.
But if you are looking at it, that 30.5 inches and up mark seems to be the best number we have for identifying guys with a better shot at just being consistently relevant.
Exactly. And what's also fascinating, looking at the data over time, is that even the predictive signal from that 30.5-inch threshold seems to be slightly decreasing decade by decade.
Oh, interesting. So its value might be fading a bit.
Seems that way.
Yeah.
Maybe as the game evolves, pure leaping ability is slightly less critical than other skills for tight ends, or maybe defenses are just better at neutralizing it now.
Okay, so wrapping this up, we confirm success doesn't just climb linearly with how high a guy jumps. That's out. But we did find this narrow consistency target, 30.5 inches. And the big picture advice really has to be, you should absolutely never use this one physical test in isolation when you're evaluating a tight end prospect?
Absolutely not. It's maybe a small piece of the puzzle indicating a minimum floor, perhaps, but definitely not a ceiling predictor.
Okay, so here's a final thought to leave you with, kind of building on that fading signal idea. Given that the predictive power of this physical benchmark, the vertical jump, seems to be lessening over time.
Yeah.
What other classic nonlinear physical metrics might also be losing their edge? Things like maybe the broad jump for offensive linemen or the three-cone drill for running backs. Could pure athleticism benchmarks be becoming less useful as the modern game prioritizes processing speed and technique even more?
That's a great question. Something definitely worth talking about.
Definitely something to mull over until our next deep dive.